Welcome everybody to another episode of Anyone Can. I am APS, and today we are going to tackle some Italian cuisine. As many of you know, the Italian people are very proud of their history, especially their cuisine. Today I'm going to teach you how to make authentic Italian pasta and our version of Alfredo sauce. This is what you're going to need. So there are different ways of making pasta. Today, we're going to go the more traditional route using what is called double O flour, which is a finer flour, and semolina flour. So you're going to need 150 grams or 1 cup and 3 tablespoons of double O flour, 50 grams or a quarter cup of semolina flour, and 2 large eggs. You can also make another type of pasta with all-purpose. If you want to go the other route, 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 large eggs, and 1 tablespoon of water. You can use this recipe either with a stand mixer like I'm doing, or you could do it by hand. If you want to do it by hand, all you have to do is add the flour, make a little mountain, and then a little hole in the middle. And in the middle is where you put your liquid ingredient, and you just start from the inside out, mixing everything together. But if you're using a stand mixer, just put everything in a bowl and start it off with the lowest setting. And once it gets a little bit tougher to mix, bump it up to the second level. If it's still too dry, add a little bit of water. Add it 1/4 teaspoon at a time. You don't want to overdo it, or else your flour will get too sticky and won't be malleable. After we mix it, we will have to knead it for 7 to 10 minutes. I usually use a timer, so make sure you do so. After the 7 minutes are done, roll it up into a tight ball, fold under it to make this smooth ball, and then wrap it in plastic and let it rest for 30 minutes to an hour. After it's all rested, use a dough cutter. You could use a knife if you want to cut it in fourths. Depending on how much pasta you're gonna make, you can put whatever you're not gonna use in a Ziploc bag, and you could store it in the freezer, and that will last up to 3 months. You need a rolling pin. We're flattening the dough so it fits better into the pasta roller. Make sure that you have your pasta roller at 1. We will increase little by little. So this first part, we're going to slide the pasta in. And we're going to fold it in thirds. That is going to shape our pasta sheet. Also keep in mind that we will have to use the rolling pin once again to flatten it out a little bit. That way we don't overwhelm our pasta maker. We're going to do this process a total of 2 more times. It is so satisfying to throw the pasta in there, so make sure you do it 2 more times. We're going to go through each number until you hit 6. That's where I like my pasta. So it is said in Italy that a pasta sheet needs to be thin enough to read a love letter. Then I'm going to change it to my linguine cutter. Honestly, this is probably one of the greatest purchases I've ever made. The KitchenAid pasta maker edition. It is so easy to use. I highly encourage you to get one of these. All right, we're gonna put our pasta sheet through it, and out comes the linguine. This is the most satisfying part of the entire process. If you're gonna use the pasta right away, go ahead and add some flour and mix it through your pasta. That way it doesn't stick together. But if you're gonna wait between 30 minutes to an hour, toss in some flour and put it in a Ziploc bag. That way it doesn't get too dried out. So the original way of making Alfredo sauce in Italy is just the Parmesan cheese and butter. You toss in your pasta and they call it a day. Here we decided to make it a bit different. For our version, this is what you're gonna need. 7.7 grams or quarter cup of minced onion. It has to be very, very thinly chopped onion because we're gonna want it to dissolve. You don't want big chunks of onion floating around your pasta. 2 cloves of garlic, diced. 1 stick of butter. A pinch of nutmeg. 78 milliliters or a third cup of white wine. 480 milliliters or 2 cups of heavy cream. 2 egg yolks, whisked. 1 cup or 90 grams of shredded Parmesan, and then salt and pepper to taste. We are actually going to add a lot of olive oil sauce to our pan because we want to infuse all these flavors. This is going to be the base of our Alfredo sauce. So we're going to add a quarter of a cup of olive oil. Wait until the pan gets hot before tossing in your onions. We're going to cook these onions a little bit past its sweat stage. We're going to get them to the point of almost caramelization. We're not going to toss in the garlic right away. If we toss the garlic in with the onions, the garlic will for sure burn. Add your garlic, cook them for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. And then you're gonna add your stick of butter. Once you add your stick of butter, you're gonna start noticing that it's starting to thicken up. Once the butter is melted, add your salt, your fresh ground pepper, and your pinch of nutmeg. Remember, we're not using a lot. We're just using a tiny bit to tie all these flavors together. Once that added, we are going to add our wine. And as I said in previous videos, don't worry. This is perfectly safe to serve to children. We are going to wait and reduce it. That way we give it enough time for the alcohol to evaporate. Once the alcohol is evaporated, we're slowly going to add the cream. If you add it too soon, the cream's going to curdle. We don't want that to happen. We don't want to have a chunky sauce. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes for the alcohol to evaporate. Then you're slowly going to add your cream, but you're going to be mixing it at the same time. So right now you should have your egg yolks ready to drop. Not quite yet though. Let the cream settle for about a minute to a minute and a half. Make sure your egg yolks are whisked, and again, like with the cream, we're gonna add it very slowly. We don't want the egg yolks to cook and make scrambled eggs. We're adding these egg yolks to thicken our sauce. Let that cook for about 30 to 40 seconds, and then we're going to add our cup of Parmesan cheese. Once added, mix everything together. So once you mix your cheese in, you want a creamy consistency. It should be creamy and be ready to add on top of your pasta. There are different toppings that we can add onto our pasta. We can do either seafood, such as shrimp or chicken. I went ahead and decided to cook up some chicken. All you have to do is slice a chicken breast into strips, season them with salt and pepper, add some canola oil to a medium temperature pan and cook your chicken. If you're not sure if your chicken is completely cooked, you can get an instant thermometer. As long as it's over 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 75 degrees Celsius, they are ready to eat. Okay, now all that's left is to cook the pasta. Add some water into a deep pan. I'm using a saucepan. Fill it up a little over halfway and bring it to a rolling boil. Add about a tablespoon and a half of salt and add your pasta. Don't forget, homemade pasta cooks a lot quicker than the one you buy at the supermarket. And you're going to want to cook it between 3 to 5 minutes. You want your pasta to be al dente. That's Italian for to the tooth. It's where pasta tastes and feels the best. It's chewy, but at the same time firm, and it holds its shape. Strain your pasta, pour some of that delicious homemade Alfredo sauce, add your chicken, and time to eat. And that is it. You have just learned on how to make homemade pasta and homemade Alfredo sauce. Hope you like these recipes. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Until next time, and remember, anyone can. Ciao.